Today's assignment is really just to either to watch a short recorded lecture, to read in your ebook, and to answer 3 questions, and to be prepared to discuss them this coming Tuesday. I'm trying to keep things simple so that we can get something done. But let's begin with the information. Click on the link above to view a recorded lecture on the divided kingdom of Israel and Judah, which is what you're watching now. And be ready to discuss tomorrow. How did each of the 3 kings of the United Kingdom contribute to the split of the kingdom? Today, read pages 144 to 148 in your textbook and review the maps on pages 138 and 146. So you'll be looking at the largest extent of the United Kingdom under David and Solomon, and the greatly reduced amount of territory in the divided kingdoms of Israel and Judah. Finally, create a Google Doc file and answer the 4 review questions 1 to 3 on page 148, and submit your work through today's Dropbox by 11:59 p.m. And that's it. So this is the kingdom under Joshua, which is really quite large and extensive. It's even more so under David and Solomon, because it goes way down to the point of Elat. I'll show that to you on the other map. And then it extends up here and on the other side of the Jordan. So it's really quite marvelous. But the kingdom of Israel is really much smaller. You can see the encroachment of Ammon, Moab, Damascus, the Assyrian Empire, Tyre and Sidon up here, present-day Lebanon. Also the Philistine states, the kingdom of Edom. So really they have all these enemy territories that are encroaching on them. And they are having to give tribute to the Assyrian Empire. And also Egypt is flexing its muscles to the southwest. So they really don't have as much strength to withstand all these enemy or these competing nations, which is why they needed and wanted a central leader in the first place. Well, let's look at the commands of God regarding the king. And so Moses is telling the people what God has told him. When you have come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it, and settled in it, should you then decide, I will set a king over me like all the other surrounding nations, you may indeed set over you a king whom the Lord your God will choose. Someone from among your own kindred you may set over you as king. You may not set over you a foreigner who is no kin of yours. And here's the warning. But he shall not have a great number of horses, nor shall he make his people go back again to Egypt to acquire many horses. For the Lord said to you, do not go back that way again. Neither shall he have a great number of wives, lest his heart turn away, nor shall he accumulate a vast amount of silver and gold. When he is sitting upon his royal throne, he shall write a copy of this law upon a scroll from the one that is in the custody of the Levitical priests. It shall remain with him, and he shall read it as long as he lives, so that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, and to observe carefully all the words of this law and these statutes, so that he does not exalt himself over his kindred, or turn aside from this commandment to the right or to the left, and so that he and his descendants may reign long in Israel. So this is from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, and the lawgiver And the prophet par excellence, Moses, is telling this to all the people who are about to enter Canaan under the leadership of Joshua. Now, in Deuteronomy chapter 18, it tells you about the prophet. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their kindred, and will put my words into the mouth of the prophet. The prophet shall tell them all that I command. Anyone who will not listen to my words, which the prophet speaks in my name, I myself will hold accountable for it. But if a prophet presumes to speak a word in my name that I have not commanded, or speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. Should you say to yourselves, how can we recognize that a word is one the Lord has not spoken? If a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, but the word does not come true, it is a word the Lord did not speak. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not fear him. So we're going to learn about all these major and minor prophets. In our Bibles, we really have 5 major books of prophecy, but we're really going to look at Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Daniel fits into a different category. He's considered is considered a book of apocalyptic literature, and we'll see what the difference is there. Then Baruch we'll study that later, and Lamentations is attributed to Jeremiah. And then there are 12 shorter books that we call the minor books of prophecy. But let's look at what happens in 2 Kings. What happens to the northern kingdom of Israel? Are they being faithful to God? Well, according to the 17th chapter of the second book of Kings, no. In Hosea's 9th year, the king of Assyria took Samaria, that is the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel, deported the Israelites to Assyria, and settled them in Hala and at the Habor, a river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. This came about because the Israelites sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up from the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. They venerated other gods. They followed the rites of the nations, whom the Lord had dispossessed before the Israelites, and those that the kings of Israel had practiced. They adopted unlawful practices toward the Lord their God. They built high places in all their cities, from guard post to garrisoned town. They set up pillars and asherahs for themselves on every high hill and on every green tree. They burned incense there on all the high places, like the nations whom the Lord has sent into exile at their coming. They did evil things that provoked the Lord, and served idols, although the Lord had told them, "You must not do this." The Lord warned Israel and Judah by every prophet and seer, "Give up your evil ways, and keep my commandments and statutes, in accordance with the entire law, which I enjoined on your ancestors, in which I sent you by my servants the prophets." But they did not listen. They grew as stiff-necked as their ancestors, who had not believed in the Lord their God. And so the same thing is going to happen to Judah, because they also rejected God, okay? And so not only are the foreigners, and then foreigners are brought into the lands of the 10 northern tribes. So the people who are of the ancestry of the 10 northern tribes intermarry with these foreigners, or else they are exiled and they intermarry with people in other parts of Assyria. So it's this is what happens to them. At the same time, Judah is going to go into exile about 300 years after the death of Solomon. And so they are going to be in Babylonia's capital, Babylon. And so no one is following God, okay? That's what's happening.